Hello.
This is dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is dope. We're having fun. We're up here and wherever the fuck
Honestly. We're on just a mini dose. What's the in between micro and macro?
Meta.
Meta?
Wow.
The meta dose. We're on the meta dose.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. I'm going to join you in the meta dose. Even though I already did. It's great for getting up here. I'll tell you that.
Driving is the best.
This is for getting out of the city and getting up here.
I know it as well as anyone. Also, even if you're not driving the train it's one of my favorite usages of it.
You don't even, I memean, you could take a macro dose and get on the train.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good for early in the day because if you're going up for a long day, then it's also driving back. It holds on to you for.
Does it?
Yeah.
It holds on to you for.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, turn me down.
Here we are.
Always turn me down.
What?
What's going on, guys?
Yeah,
What's
seriously.
How's life been since we last saw?
Crazy. We've been like growing closer to Mare and hanging out a lot and like music. That seems to be the defining quality of our life.
Awesome.
Have you guys been making music?
We have.
We have. It's been very productive up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, I can't believe it. I actually was just talking to my friends in London, and they're going crazy because they're locked down and they're feeling super stressed. And I told them I feel the complete opposite right now. I feel really productive, and everything's been easy going up here. They're in London too, and I was like, you need to get up to the countryside, rent a cottage, get the fuck out of the city. And just escape for a little bit. It seems like hectic over there when they're locked down and they can't go anywhere.
This isn't the right word, but you guys have created a little creativity cave for yourselves up here.
Well, you see it. I mean, Bill sees the motions of this place too, because I have the kids roll through every so often, and it's literally transformed into like a domestic household for 48 hours of the week, and it's weird.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. Like, I decompress. I need like a solid few hours after the kids are gone to like shift into creative mode. And I just realized that's kind of like what I need in life, like kind of that decompression time. And
you're not like a full-time dad type.
I know.
I'm not a full-time mom type, and I'm like, I guess I'm just not going to be able to do this thing.
I don't think that's the right approach.
I wish my dad would have admitted this.
No, because I think
I'm part-time.
Because what I think is
Part-time
important, and I think where it gets complicated, and obviously I'm navigating this in real time, but if children have a lot of people who care about them and the emotions are relatively smooth, they're pretty adaptable. They won't actually feel like I can tell when Eli, he's older, so I can tell like when his abandonment shit, I'm like, oh, trauma, like I'm inflicting it, it's happening. But I can also see that like for the most part, like if he knows that everyone loves him and like everyone's on like good terms, that's more important. I also feel like, and I don't think this is like a novel idea, but like the nuclear family, not so great, didn't really like work out so well. And was more of kind of an idea. I do like, my favorite thing about my situation now is like Eli and Gabe get to meet so many different cool people.
Yeah, right.
Like, and that's like huge. That to me like means more than almost anything for their lives. And I also recognize for me, not growing up in a household where that existed, like maybe that's why I also feel like maybe I can't do this on my own. So I look at it like it's not like a bad thing that I'm not a full-time dad. It's like I'm figuring out how these kids can be supported and grow like through the situation that's evolved. That's how I look at it.
Dude, when I was growing up, I was just thinking about this the other day because I took it for granted, but my dad was in recovery, and every night there was some fucking dude in our house. Here's our friend, he has AIDS. This you got to meet this guy, he's currently addicted. Like, just all these people that I guess I had to build compassion towards, and like I would have been protected from those motherfuckers otherwise, you know?
Yes, being exposed to that stuff is really, really helpful. Yeah.
I also think it's really important for parents to have a sense of value outside of their kids and a sense of identity outside of their kids so that when you come to the table, you're fulfilled already.
Yeah.
And you're just bringing good energy to it. And it doesn't have to be this thing where your kids feel like they're responsible for your emotions.
Yeah, I can tell you. I started being a better parent when I started like making sure that I was okay. And like that takes like a certain amount of like faith, because you don't want to like do selfish asshole things. You want to be like, well, fuck everyone else, I gotta make sure I feel good. Most people actually don't deviate to like selfish asshole tendencies. They don't. They may be a little immune or like numb to some things at times, but for the most part, people are like pretty like tight with themselves. I've actually found most people do like the opposite. They're too hard on themselves. They're like too like fucking hold themselves accountable. Regardless, when you really start like doing the shit you feel like you're supposed to be doing, whatever it is, even if it seems weird, even if it seems like counterintuitive, you're going to feel better. Literally every other person in your life will start to feel better around you, because you're not going to be someone, this like tense ball of energy that's like, oh, I wish I could have, didn't do that, or I fucked up there. It's like, you can feel that when you're around people.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I just think a lot of people, that identity thing, it's like, don't get lost in just being a parent. You could do that 99% of the time, love it, it's your life's mission, but have your own kind of like creative fulfillment. It's like, you go crazy.
The kids pick up on that too.
Yeah.
My friend, she's Russian, and she had a child, and he was raised in Russia, which is a very obviously cold culture, and he grew up a little bit cold and naturally, and then she started she had a child with somebody else living in Italy, and she raised this child in Italy where they go out to the market and like there's grandmas, old ladies like, oh, grabbing the kid, being very affectionate, and this kid is so much happier than the first child, and it's just a product of the environment that you put them in, and if they're sensing the love, and just like having Gabe and Eli around here, for me, I love it because I love kids. And if you see the way I've decorated this place, I have my own little toys and stuff like that. So they're like playing with them, and it's good. I love it. So I love the energy. I like the dichotomy of having the kids around and then going into the more.
What you're like Uncle Jesse at
Totally.
That's awesome.
I was worried about you at first, man. When I first came in here, I was like, wait, Noah has a roommate? What is that like?
Yeah.
And then I saw what you did with this place, and I was like, oh, shit.
Big upgrade.
Total glow up.
Cool.
Yeah, glow up.
Cool.
Yeah,
Totally.
I'm the worst. I know that, and like I feel like that should be like the precursor to like actually getting like a sense of fashion and like filling up homes with stuff, but it's not. It doesn't get to that point. Maybe at some point. I don't know, but yeah, no, he made it awesome, and like it's just, but I do think that balance, because it does, like, I don't know, kids are cool because when you realize you're not really fucking them up, like you definitely are fucking them up, because like it's hard not to, it's just life, but that's not really a bad thing. Like they're good, they're gonna be good, and if you love them and people around them love them, you're doing a good job. That makes you feel good most of the time. If it feels like obligatory and like you gotta do this and you have to do that, that sucks. And you can think that no matter what's going on. Like that's not just related to kids. That could be just your life. If you like, you have to do this, it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
That's your life then. If you live in that state, that's no good. No one wants to live there.
No.
But you guys have also like, Bill, you're like a fucking famous, worldwide famous DJ. And so talk about glow up, not just with the furniture and the vibe and the home cooked tofu and stuff.
Oh, that's tofu?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, that looks like good chicken.
No,
it's
tofu.
tofu.
He's a thoughtful
nice.
fellow.
Awesome.
All right, you guys going to start like a record label together, or how does the creativity blossom?
I think, well, the business that employs us is getting a cash infusion. I think we're gonna invest. And it's true. Is this not true? This is true. And I think like one of my priorities is investing in like a lot of hardware. I don't know. Like we came up with a name finally for our production name. Do you still like it?
I love this name.
Darmok and Jalad, which no one will get unless you watch Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's one of the goofiest episodes of all time. I'll show you guys later. But anyway, came up with the name. I just like making music. I've learned from like being around him. His music taste is fucking amazing. Like you guys all understand this. You guys all have really good taste. Like his taste is amazing. So we like listening to music. It's very fun to make things that you like to listen to. It's just like a natural kind of like fulfilling closed loop. So I think that's the only goal. I mean, I know now, not gonna lie, the money situation, you guys know this, fuck, sometimes it just contracts. And you're like, what the fuck am I going to do? And then I'm like, fuck, I got to do my annoying imagination shit. I actually have to fucking do it. And then it happens. And then, like, so I feel like we're in a pretty good...
Are there loans out there?
Yeah, PvP, man. Fucking round 2. It's
round
the best.
2.
I yelled at Ramin to do it.
He is the king of
I know.
of all of this.
I know.
It's
We took out our first loan ever
receiving
because
love.
of
It's
I
because
love
receive it.
Because
I
the thing
love it.
is like, it's just, money's not real. Like, everyone kind of really fundamentally knows that it's just like this thing that we do, and it's like, "Ooh, it's that, okay." It's like this weird thing. If you know that fundamentally, but you still operate in a world where you have to pay bills, you got kids, all of this stuff, just remembering that it's not real is the only thing you have to do. And just remember that more than what feels like external reality coming in at you. And this rubs a lot of people the wrong way, because if you're used to not having anything in your life, if you grew up with nothing, if you're not used to just good shit happening to you, which I'm not totally used to that. It feels like I am because good shit happens to me because I guess ultimately I am. But anyway, if you're not used to that, just try to reprogram, like, however you need to do it, whatever works for you, that you are capable of. Like, things aren't out to fuck you. They're not out to, like, ruin your life. They're not out to, like, make your shit bad. And you are actually someone who's capable of, like, imagining or allowing good things to happen to you. Money's just an expression of that. It's like any other type of love or energy or anything. And I guess that's uncomfortable. I know, like, when it's contracting and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why is this happening to me? That's the wrong approach. That's like, you think you did some, like, punitive karmic thing, like, oh, something bad happened because you did this. That's totally wrong.
Get superstitious.
Do you know how fun it is when you're fucking, your back is against the wall and you fucking pop out of it?
Well,
and you're
that's
like,
that's
it's
literally
the
what I was just
best.
about to say.
It's the
like,
best.
I'm in this relationship, like, where I would need to, like, the times that money's come into our world or jobs jumped in our lap, it's usually like we're like at a friend's place and they're trying to teach us fucking what do you call this?
The abundance. What the fuck is that kind of?
Kundalini,
Kundalini
you know? And then
yoga.
all of a sudden you're doing like this 11-minute thing up in the
You're
air and
going
you're
like
like,
this, and it's
I
like for
need it.
financial abundance, and then we get a job.
I was like, wow, that was the best spent 11 minutes ever.
Yeah.
it's our beliefs and, like, whatever energy collectively or individually that we can tap into that I think allows that to happen. I guess I just really, and I've known this about myself for most of my life, I haven't always remembered it as much, but, like, I just know that things work out. Like, I just know that good things are happening. I've also found when you relax, when you just, like, really let shit go, that's why breathing is important for people. Your natural state is peace, harmony, joy, love. That's everyone's. It's actually requires a tremendous amount of energy to, like, resist that, and that's what people react to, and they're like, "Why is this happening?" But if you just let it go, like, you'll feel good. I mean, so it's just like those two things.
It helped me after Mare told me, she's like, oh, it's in your stars to live a long life. And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, just relax. Just relax. And, like,
But she's not in her stars to live a long life. So how do we?
So now I'm like, I can't relax.
How do we relax?
And she's like, oh, well, I'll be sometime between like 30 and 45. And I'm like, well, we have 3 years. We have to worry about this shit.
Also, you can change your mind, as far as I can tell, based on what I know of consciousness.
Karmic inertia, for sure.
Yeah, like, you can circumvent and move. Karma's an idea. It's just an idea, and
No,
it's
like an inertia.
yeah, but it's the idea of, like, punitive karma, or like something good or bad has a
External from
relationship to it.
yourself,
Yeah, that's not a thing. It's just a thing that does this. That's all. It just goes around, comes around. It's not that complicated.
Right.
But yeah.
Wait, so can you live longer?
Yeah,
We
you
haven't
totally
talked about
can. You totally could if you wanted to.
I mean, that's the great question. That's the interesting question of life, right? Like, where does determinism come into the picture, if it does at all, you know?
Yeah.
That's the most fascinating question of all time, you know, because it seems like there's at least a little bit of determinism in my life with the different gods I serve and the different art industries and the different, you know, they sort of set up their own barriers and boundaries, just existing with them or relating to them.
I mean, this was the crux of, I think, my DMT experience, which you guys were witness to. And at least here, integrating it back into this reality. What it was out there, I don't even know. I have no fucking idea. But here,
I hope that has nothing to do with you.
it's fuck.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
Jesus, God. So there's this otherizing that I think is a way for us to navigate this reality. We've clearly created many different versions of an energy, and these are different people, these are different things, and a lot of us can recognize that without like totally freaking out and just like we get it. It's cool. At a certain point, you can't subdivide that one. And if you tap in individually as an indivisible part of that one to the one, you essentially have all creative powers. It doesn't mean you're God and like you're gonna fucking throw thunderbolts at people and you get whatever you like. That's most people wouldn't come here to experience that, but it is accessible. And I'm not saying it's something that people will like naturally gravitate to, but it as based on my experience, even when shit feels like it's collapsing in on me, like I can't rub that part out. You know what I mean? Like DMT, I feel like almost like got me to the point where I was like, there were these outside malevolent forces phasing in through you guys, phasing in through everything, getting at me. That's real. Of course that's real. That's happening somewhere. That's a spectrum of something that's going on. It's just, how much do I want to buy into that narrative? How much do I want to go down that rabbit hole? Or do I want to be like, you know what? For me to even be aware of that, I have to have awareness of that. So, you know, I would think that you can, what we call death anyway, right? I'm sure like most of us will probably agree with it at this point. It's a transition. It's a change. That's the best thing we can say about it at this point. You can maybe have an existential dread that your individuality ends or whatever it is, but we know it's a change. I think in our lifetimes, no matter when any of us go, people's relationship to death and what they understand is like crossing over or going away or that transition is going to shift pretty dramatically, pretty quickly. You know, in our lives, we're going to witness, I do believe we're going to witness that. I do think that will unlock some kind of codes, and whether that comes through like physiology or like technology or whatever, I don't know, but I do think that's coming.
So you think it'll become in the form of like mapping brain scans? Like they're going to be able to see what you're seeing when you dream, when you transition. Like we'll be able to kind of print out.
That would be so.
That's cool.
I mean,
What's going
Harvard
on?
already proved that there's an afterlife. You can go and
Yeah, none of this
Harvard
stuff,
did it. It was like in the 90s or something.
Well,
Is it like when someone's head gets chopped off, they like blink 3 times if there's an afterlife?
You should watch this documentary on Netflix right now. Actually, I watched the first episode. It was, I think it's called something about death, but I should know the title. But the first episode was about near-death experiences, and it was fascinating. The stories that people were talking about. One woman who died while giving birth, and just watching everything happen and describing the tools that the doctors used, and the doctors were like, just this is impossible that they would, the tools weren't brought in until she was unconscious. But fascinating stuff. And the one thing that I found like hopeful was that every person that died that had this near death, but they said when they were coming back, and whether they were being told by beings you have to go back or family ones, they were all like, I don't want to go back.
Yeah. That's my experience too. I was like, this is so great. I don't want to be stuck in that body anymore. That sucks. Yeah. Because your consciousness fucking grows like wildfire, and it wants to expand, you know, and it's stuck in this little fucking prison that you put it in to learn things because it's a pattern, and you're in this pattern, you're learning the relationality in between all these other different patterns.
I feel like the trick, though, at least that I've discovered, is to make it not like a prison, but like a fun game that you opted into. And like you can be like, this is annoying sometimes. Like you're stuck on the same fucking level. But it does like it. I don't know. Like it's just people. I actually got accused. I was going through my bad ratings the other day. Someone gave me a solid 2-star. And
why even take the fucking time?
Are you kidding me? I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Do you want to know why, Sean? Let me
nutmeg.
explain. Sean, let me explain
Just
why.
move on with your life.
No, Sean, exactly. This is
Wait,
this,
Noah or the guy who wrote the 2-star?
The guy. Not me. I'm gonna do this. So anyway, this guy called me dangerous at one point, and I'm like, why 2 stars? So what do I gotta do to get 1 star? If you actually think I'm a menace to society, so
He basically was like, you're trying, but you're misguided.
So we discovered, and I gave him a pass for it. He said that I used to be good. So at one point, maybe I was a 3. So like I was a 3. He was like, this isn't the worst thing I've heard. It's okay.
When
And
was that? When you were married?
I don't know.
Before acid?
Who knows what's going on? Before I went the deep end.
You
off the
used to
deep
be
end.
good.
It used to be good.
You
Used to
could
be
have
good
been
was
somebody.
the title of the thing. That's why I read it. I was like, I gotta read this. So used to be good. Cool.
Whoa.
Awesome. So I was thinking the average of not really liking me and now thinking I'm dangerous is a 2.
Yeah, it
is
is.
a 2.
It actually,
So
he did hit the perfect amount of stars.
I
Yeah.
give him a pass for that.
Like, imagine thinking somebody was dangerous. You know,
With the podcast.
there's a fucking some guy with a podcast.
It's not even that
dangerous.
popular. It's not like I'm out here Joe Rogan telling people to go like kill themselves. Like,
Yeah, it's insane, man.
but I think his general point, which I did bring up, was that I think people think I have this like rosy-eyed, overconfident view of things. And I know, like, from knowing me personally, that is kind of how, and I'm wrong sometimes. Obviously, I'm a regular person. I'm wrong on many
I'd
occasions.
rather be wrong with you on that, though, because when you first started being more like this, we were concerned, of course. You know,
But then it was-
we were on the first
it hasn't
wave.
always been like this.
No, I no, I
You
was.
didn't even have another friend like me
No.
to be like, it's okay.
No.
Yeah, she balanced. I thank you
Yeah,
so much.
totally.
I thank you so much. I love it.
I do defend you a lot.
Oh, yeah,
you.
it's like, no, it's fine.
We're like, no, man, we're worried about that guy, and she's like, he's fine.
It's fine.
Killing
Like,
it.
it's totally good. No, I mean, I think everyone goes through periods in their life. Sometimes it might just be if you take MDMA and you just feel the love and kind of like confidence, and you may go, "That's because I took that drug. That's what that was.
Yeah.
That made me feel like that. That's how I feel like that. I take that thing. I do this here." That's just kind of a microcosm of what we're doing as beings here. And so when you kind of catch on to that, like, at least for me, the natural interest is like, how do I feel good? Not like gloss over the bad shit, but how do I deal with like all of the ups and downs of life, all of the scary, fearful, amazing, ecstatic things? How do I deal with them and navigate in a way where like at least baseline level for me is like pretty enjoyable?
Yeah.
And you were just admitting a minute ago, like you like to live life on the edge a little sometimes,
That is so
energetically. Yeah.
I mean, diving into that DMT trip, like,
Head first.
head first
Yeah, I
was...
mean, I snapped.
Scary.
I snapped. I
The Fool.
The Fool.
It was the Fool. That was
was
Off the cliff.
fucking
I loved
Fool
it.
if I ever saw it. And we just met Bill, and like he's seeing us come
Oh,
up here
yeah. Wow.
and serve this shit to you that made
Oh,
you crazy.
no.
No,
Listen,
he knew-
listen.
he knows
I have
me
a
well.
lot of experience
also
in that.
knows
Yeah.
people.
You were thinking about doing it too, and then
I
you
bet I saw
and
that. I was
Not a
like,
good ad.
Not a good ad.
Not a
Good.
good ad
Not a good ad.
for DMT. Wow. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to test the boundaries, but like that experience taught me, like the first resonant thing that pulled me back was like beauty, gratitude, appreciation, love. Like I'm like, oh my God, like if that's a place I can be psychically, consciously, and I'm not there and I'm here, like, awesome.
Yeah, you're doing
So,
something right.
I don't know.
That
There's
you're
a
not in that
spectrum.
crack house portal all the time.
God.
Yeah, because there's some people with a life like yours
Yeah.
that
No,
do
I know
live
that.
in their crack house all the time.
No, I
You know?
know
And it's
that.
Like, what are you doing, man? That's my dad. My dad, his whole life, he just lived in his fucking astral crack house,
God,
and then he
it's
would
really
do crack.
Scary. It's
Yeah.
really scary.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
it's dangerous. I think people can get lost in the subconscious.
That's
and,
what he
and
was
for
saying.
2 weeks he was there.
Oh, I was
after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
dude.
was,
Are you kidding me? No, not 2 weeks. It was like 9 days, 10 days.
Oh,
I did a
man, no.
podcast called Shadow Realms.
Yeah, I
There's
heard that.
proof.
That was
There's
great.
empirical proof
That was great.
of all this stuff. And then I started like what I was describing before, which got us on this subject with whether you can alter your life and death, and are there things that are changeable. It's hard for me to otherize any other aspect of reality fundamentally. I get to a point where I go, this is my experience, not in like, nothing else exists. I don't have to, just like it's my experience of it. And it's more empowering for me to kind of know and feel that like, I'm in charge of this. Like I'm in charge of my moods and my reactions and my feelings. And if that's what creates reality, which in my world it does, I can't say it's something else. It can totally feel like someone could
Yeah.
hit me in the fucking face, and I'll be like, yo, someone punched me in the face. But ultimately, I'm not going to be like, well, I should forgive them because it's me. But like, I'm like, all right, showing myself something there. And that's kind of what the DMT was. And I do think it was just like, I needed to be humble. Like, that is just like, dude,
Clearly.
what are you doing?
Clearly.
humble but confused. Granted, it was a very confusing experience. I would have too. I mean,
I
I
still
equated
remember it.
to
Like-
taking ayahuasca. I haven't taken DMT. I've taken ayahuasca, and it's something that you think about for the next. I don't know. However, people
rest
think
of
about it
your
for the
life.
rest of their lives. Yeah.
Oh, it's there. It's there. Wow, so weird.
We're about to do some ayahuasca.
Oh, when?
Next week.
Where?
Is that next week?
2 weeks.
Nice.
2 weeks. My spot.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Wow.
Mare's
Yes.
first time.
Did you, I sent you the song that he played? It's your first time?
Yeah, well, and you know what's funny about it is it's been offered to me other times in my long
Yeah.
drug professional experience,
it.
and I've always told people like, no, I'll do it when it falls into my lap.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
This is
ask me all
falling
the
into
time.
your lap.
And Sean's sitting on my lap.
Literally,
And
we've
he's
been hanging
like-
out for 2 days, and then I'm sitting on her lap, and I have my eyes closed, and I'm like, "You should
And
do
I'm
ayahuasca."
I'm mad. I'm instantly mad. Like all the parts of me that are scared to do it and like trying to
Awesome.
run away
So
were
you know.
fucking mad. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
This
Yeah, it was a
This
moment.
motherfucker. I had a moment. I had to go through it.
We were probably like, we should.
And then I felt the timeline shift as soon as I stopped rejecting her and I accepted her and her fucking love. I instantly felt just a flood of serotonin.
Whoa.
I
That's what
I
she
was
gave you.
Yeah, that's what she gave me. And
I
I
had-
was, the healing had already begun, you know?
She's all I know is I have one experience. I did it in LA. Wasn't like the most ideal, but it was. I took 4 cups of this stuff. So I mean, like it was in me. Whatever it was, people were around me were feeling it. I was ready to get my shit hand. I was ready for what I got there.
And the DMT.
I was
Yeah.
ready for that. I was like,
You
"Yo,
were too
show
ready.
me."
That's
I was,
what I'm
and then
ready
she was
for.
like, "Nope, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good. You're good." And I'm like, "What the fuck is this? Like, I'm running away from my family. I'm a terrible person. Show me how horrible I am." And she's like, "You're good.
That's
you're
ayahuasca.
good. You're good. You're good. You're
That's
good."
ayahuasca.
Yeah, it was
Just when you think, and when you want the spanking, she's like, "No, no, this is the time for the massage." And you're like, "What the fuck?" And you get the spanking elsewhere in your life. You know, for guys like us who have inflated egos, your ego needs to be caught off guard.
so
You
hard.
can't be like, ayahuasca ceremonies when I'm gonna deal with, like, no, your ego needs to be fucking caught off guard. In the middle of recording Mare's music, you're like, let me just smoke the DMT real quick. The last time you'd expect to go into the fucking astral crack house.
It was really my muses that were like, you want to fuck up.
Fuck Christ. Jesus
We'll
Christ.
fucking turn vampire on you.
It was so
Motherfucker.
crazy. God almighty. All I know is I will never forget it. And then the sounds from that song.
I love that I brought that. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, they've pulled back the sounds from the DMT realm perfectly.
Yeah.
It's so distinct. You can hear it. Musicians that use that, I'm like,
What do you think it is? Your consciousness phasing in and out and like
Yeah,
frame rates?
Yeah,
that's what I
it
think.
feels
So
Oh,
I've had
interesting.
that. I've had that happen to me when I was a kid when I first smoked weed. I had it the first time I did ketamine. I have it when I go into K-holes. Feels like a
Nitrous.
frame rate. Nitrous too sometimes. Yeah. Frame rates,
Yeah.
and then you're aware of the frame rates before it's like a thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Ooh."
yeah.
Dude, when I was
It's a very distinct sound with DMT, though. I don't think I've never gotten anything like that on.
no,
ketamine.
I'm not saying the sound. I'm saying what I think the sound is
Yeah.
is like the frame rate sound. Like if you even in audio, you can see it happens. I've had the experience without the sound. I think DMT is just so fucking fast. It's
I
like,
know. Yeah.
Jesus,
You're shifting dimensions. And
Yeah.
Blah.
it's exactly what you would hear if it's just something cascaded up in speed and then slowed down.
Yeah.
That's what's. It's like this. Oh wow, fucking Christ. Something,
Yeah.
something else.
I think like you were saying earlier, enjoying friction. That's like the ultimate creative power. People talk about they want to be artists. Like the ultimate artist is somebody that can really enjoy anything, right? And it's not just separating that hurts. Like coming together hurts, and it hurts so good, and you got to learn to love it. But it always does, and that's kind of I feel like the pain that you go through in ayahuasca ceremonies or psychedelics. It's like this coming together of your different personalities and the way that they frayed before. Their edges are different, and they're not coming together like perfect puzzle pieces, and it hurts.
Yeah.
You know, those conversations hurt a little bit, and you know, just how good feelings are on the same spectrum as bad feelings. It's like you kind of get to play where the eyeglass is looking at it, you know?
I think ultimately we control that mechanism. That's
Totally.
basically
Absolutely.
my fundamental standpoint, and I probably annoy a fair amount of people with that. But I just think
No,
it's
stick with it.
no. I'm not going anywhere. With that. I mean, listen, if
We
the,
count
love
on you,
it.
Noah.
if the
Yeah, we need
DMT
to.
thing
You're my
didn't pin me
Kanye
up-
West of the spiritual world.
Yeah,
Just so you
totally.
motherfucking know, I haven't
Great.
told you this
Oh,
yet,
wow.
but like,
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
totally.
you're my man.
Yeah.
I love Kanye, so I take. You guys know I saw his Sunday service in L.A.
I'm sure it made you cry. I
I was
would've
on
cried.
acid, and
I
yeah, I
probably
was
would've
tearing up. It was amazing.
Dude,
Shout out to
choirs will fuck you up.
Yeah.
200 something
Choir will fuck you
people
up.
with horns and
Oh my
like
God.
I'll never forget it the whole
But
time.
human voices together too. I don't know. There's something about that. It just shatters your soul.
It's insane the whole time he's there, and this is to speak about like the frequency. There's points where there's nothing going on. There's silence. Click. His head's on a click the whole fucking. I watched him the
His
whole time.
life's on one.
It's like a click. There's like a beat that he is literally clicking to, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's just a little too fast for most people, or too slow, or whatever. But fuck, he's cool. I love Kanye. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank
yes, you're welcome.
you.
She knows that that's how much she respects you. She
yeah.
knows that that's the compliment to
Yeah. Don't, and I
you. You're my Justin Bieber.
I also take that as a compliment
I
too,
know,
and he
I
knows
know,
that.
I know.
And you hate Justin Bieber.
No, I love him.
No,
I just
you're
can't
my.
listen to his music.
Wait, Noah's my Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Shit, I love it. He's so good. He's got the voice of an angel, Sean.
He does.
Just accept his.
When he first came out, I was worried about him. I'm like, you're not gonna be able to keep your voice like this, man. Like you're prepubescent. You're making all these hits. You're gonna have to sing these songs the rest of your life, dog. He's
good.
doing
He'll
it.
go through his.
I love the concern.
I worry about a young man like that. Yeah.
Oh shit.
I want to see him have a good life, a long life.
Mm-hmm.
A merry one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
think this whole coming together work and how to creatively enjoy it is just like what the collective is going through right now with all this Aquarius collective energy. What is it to come together? And what is it to enjoy the pain of coming together? Because it could be super fun. I mean, that's what sex is, literally, right?
That well, you're talking about the friction.
The friction of coming together. That's yeah.
I've
it's
talked about
just-
this a lot. Yeah, it's like the friction. There's something about that tension. I think a shift that a lot of people are experiencing is, for me, I'll just talk about my life. Most of that friction and tension outside of the sexual world was coming through like difficulty and suffering and pain. And there's a real tension that can be created there. You're
That's
pushed
fun.
down for enough. That's something. There's other types of tension that's like sex or like listening to music can create a tension in you. The joy, laughing is a release of tension. So like there's other ways of kind of building that friction and tension point that can be kind of a propellant for. It sounds so fucking. I like that Bill has to listen. Like I'm saying, like it sounds highfalutin, but like raising your consciousness to the point. For me, what that means is like baseline level. You feel good. Like you feel good. Like doesn't mean you don't go through fucking modulations of feeling good, but for the most part, you kind of baseline back to good. I'm also the type of person who's interested in like, can we move that higher? Can we move that
Of
higher?
course.
Can we move that higher? Like
we have
Take it up an
successfully.
octave. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like an acceptance of like knowing that
Heck yeah.
feeling good is the point. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
point isn't to feel
Yeah.
bad, and I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
Things get mixed up where you feel like you're supposed to feel bad. The point is to feel bad, and once you realize the point isn't to feel bad, you're like can have a little more charge over.
That's what we were doing Noah's techniques before we even knew we were doing it. From the
That's-
beginning of our relationship, we were like, what is the goal of this relationship? Fun and funny. If it's not fun and funny,
Right.
we're going to kind of be averse to it because it just doesn't vibe. Like I know I stagnate in that energy.
Yeah.
If it's fun and funny, man.
fun and funny. Since we've known each other,
Yeah,
that
fun
is
and funny.
even when you guys thought I was going crazy. I
It was
challenged
fun
you
and funny.
Oh, I had the most fun. I was like, wow, this is really fun.
I'm like,
I mean,
I'm having
every
the
once
best
in a
times of my
while,
life with
I just
Noah.
gotta hear myself say some things.
Wow.
Like we all
Wow.
basically discovered ketamine together.
Which is so funny. Like it's so funny to me that you guys like that's all this
Wow,
all.
that's a recent.
Yeah, last
Yeah.
October.
Last October.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 We've been on the horse train ever since.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And like luckily met them after that, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. That mellowed out, luckily, and then like
Well, I've
we've been
still-
horsing around a little.
Yeah, I mean, I still
lot.
some of the weirdest times in my life are in your apartment. It is this. I just shaman time. I'll never.
Yeah.
This is some
Shaman time.
weird shit happens.
Yeah.
Little horseplay.
Fucking Christ.
It is. It really does make a night super
So
special.
fun.
So, like, how many of those moments we have where we look at each other like, "What the fuck is going on?"
But the last time I was like, I was just an island.
Oh my god, Kaz was so
Cass was
cute.
pulling back some fucking crazy shit.
I like it because I do think it dissolves your sense of self and your identity. And if you can still maintain the sliver of connection there throughout like these like whatever is going on, collectively you can get into some pretty fucking wild shit.
Oh yeah, man. You know what we do is like we obviously record our Church of Chill with this same setup. So it's just music coming in here, but we
Fucking
can hear
rock
each other
out.
talk. So we're like
Dancing.
dancing,
Full-blown.
like full on freak out dancing in a K-hole. Then like all like every now and then be like, "You good?" You know,
Literally.
like everyone cool. You know, say a little something between the
It's a
songs.
more accurate kind of like depiction of reality. It's just a voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Oh, it definitely, like, this whole setup with Kay, there's something about it that's really special.
You don't want to come out of here. You
You
take
don't
this
wanna
off and you're like,
come
"Oh, the world is so harsh out there."
Yeah, it's a bubble. It's cool.
And the way when you can hearing music on ketamine's crazy, but in headphones,
Right, real intense.
of course.
you're
Intense.
like, what the fuck were these
Yeah.
motherfuckers doing?
Oh my god, it was so great because we were last time we were up here, we were making some music, and I like, you know, it's interesting. I'm not calling anyone out, but to like
Cass is like, let's get some results.
no, let's do a line and make sure this sounds good.
We
Wow.
we have stories.
That's usually our approach, but then
Well, I was calling you
Yeah.
out, but I was like, I don't know how much I want to call out Bill, but he literally was like, no,
Let's
was like
make
playing
sure.
it back, and he's like, how's it sound? He's like, I don't know, hold on, let me do another line.
yeah, that was
I like that.
And then,
yeah.
I mean, and I think you gotta
It's mixed for us.
you gotta make music for people on drugs while on drugs yourself, and I think that's a gift. Like you're an offering. Like obviously, as
Yeah.
a DJ, it must be like you're playing to people who are really fucked up, and you want to
For
like
sure.
take care of them, right? Or how do you navigate like taking people to the edge, but like not wanting people to like simultaneously start puking?
Yeah,
or-
you could cause a mass bad trip.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened plenty of times because I'm such a moody DJ for over the 20 years. So no, because
I love it, Bill.
it's great because music to me is basically when I'm DJing, I have a chance to really kind of tell my mood and what I'm in. Because sometimes you're in a shitty mood and you've traveled to get to this city or country, and for whatever reason, it's not always a great gig. And there's one thing that I've always had. Maybe it's a bad thing, but there's times where I'm just like, I don't give a fuck what you want to hear.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the best.
I'm
That's
playing
always
some
first.
weird shit right now, and
Yeah.
you're either going to get into it or you're not. I don't really care.
Thin
Yeah.
the crowd out.
And sometimes, strangely,
It's great.
it does thin out. But then you're left with this group of like,
Yeah.
Then motherfuckers like us turn
wow,
up.
yes,
They
yes.
that needed
Yes.
to hear
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
This guy.
And you have to have a balance as a musician. I mean, in a band, I think it's a little bit different. I guess maybe you can break out into like some weird jam shit that you've been doing.
Totally.
But as a DJ, you have the freedom to be like, all right, I'm not going to be playing what I think they want to hear or what they want to hear, like a big track with a big moment. I want to get into some weird shit right now because I'm feeling weird. I'm feeling a little bit dark or whatever, and take them on that journey. And it's actually to be on drugs and to hear that. I remember when I was raving in the 90s, and I remember being in a club and just gravitating to that kind of trippy, weird sound while I'm on ecstasy, ketamine, whatever it may be, acid, and just that would just multiply my
Shaman time.
Yeah, it was
Shaman
incredible.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that psychic congruity of the artist to be open to the flow that's there and not resisting it,
Yes,
right? Just like
yeah.
you're saying, like they're going through it, so we're all going to be going through
Yeah.
it together, you know? Instead of you experiencing this weird clash between like where they're at and where they think they should be at.
No, you get lost sometimes as a DJ.
Totally.
You want. I mean, the goal is to make people dance and have a good time,
Absolutely.
and not have an ego and get all wrapped up in yourself. But there are times where you're just like, I don't care what you want to hear. I'm here to now kind of help myself.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like we were talking about how it's important. Like you're gonna affect if you were up there playing the hits but fucking pissed off about it. Like that would affect the people
Ugh.
closest
Yeah.
to you.
They feel that.
yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah.
I learned that halfway through in the middle of my career, that people, I don't know, for a long time DJing first of all took a weird shift into just being the person to provide music and enhance someone's night from a musical standpoint, to now being an entertainer and
Yeah.
having to
Yeah.
do all this bullshit, which I hate.
You don't wear a giant mask or anything?
I wish I could. I mean, I started wearing makeup
I
to
know
gigs.
Daft Punk really did it right, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, they did.
They really did it right.
I started wearing makeup to like
That's
gigs
cool.
the last couple of years, I watched the Bob Dylan documentary, and
Oh yeah,
I was-
Rolling Thunder Review.
Yes, and I was like, and he said,
You can't trust a person that's not wearing a mask.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was so true because I felt like in a way, the mask helped me with my own insecurities or whatever I was going through. Because now I felt there was this pressure to perform and be an entertainer, and I'm not that type of person or a DJ. And with the eyeliner and the makeup and everything, I just was like, I feel more comfortable actually.
You're the artist.
Yeah.
You know. And
Yeah.
then-
Yeah, sometimes masks can be gateways to other parts of yourself you didn't know you had.
Yeah. I mean, I always
You know?
loved putting on makeup and stuff.
You like think it's not you, and then you sort of discover a new angle of you.
No, it's
It
great.
was you all along.
Just finding yourself.
It's like life. That's all. When I hear about DJing and music stuff, I guess it's just my mind's natural tendency to do that. But like, it does feel like at a certain point in life, you also have to be like, yo, I'm just gonna listen to what I want to listen to.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna kind of emanate what I think is important right now. That, by the way, as you pointed out, like even if you're just left with like, I don't know, 20 people in a club of 50, they're gonna love you infinitely
Yes.
more
Yeah.
than people who are just like, yeah, all right, cool.
He
That's
Like
where you're
it's-
making the real connection with those
Absolutely.
last 20 people at the end of the night, and
Yeah.
you feel like you're stripped away of any kind of pressure to keep a dance floor full, and you're like, oh, I've got now a handful of people here, perfect, and they're with you, and they're just like,
Yeah.
what's the next track gonna be?
Yeah.
So it's
The
really
open-endedness almost
super,
too, right?
and
Yeah.
as from a creative standpoint, you just feel much more at ease to choose music that you were like, I would never think to play this, but I'm gonna
it's coming in
yeah,
right now.
I'm gonna play a
I-
can track right now,
Yeah.
or
Ooh,
something, you
dude.
know, and fuck them up in
Yes.
that way. Like you're not gonna get house and techno now. Now you're gonna get some psychedelic rock,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get
Yeah.
so that's for me. That was definitely the best part of DJing
We should listen to some Can.
for sure.
You
I
guys
love
probably
Can.
have dope speakers.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was. It made me think of like what I love so much about your music, and you said the funniest thing when we first met. You're like, my style of your style of voice. You're like was irrelevant like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But you're like you stick with it and you do your thing, and you're making this whole universe around it. That's like so fucking beautiful and uniquely yours. Like it doesn't feel like you want to be one of these people that's currently out there. It does feel like you came in a time machine to a certain degree, for sure.
Yeah, no, I really just want to be me. And I'm still figuring out who that is and what that is. And it feels very much like this period of my life at 27, you know. But chipping away every day, and it gets more clear every day, you know, and I come into myself more every day, and different covers. That's why I say with the mask, like different covers will bring me into myself. You know, like I'm singing a song and I'm like, damn, I just really discovered a whole new room, because I'm playing architect as a vocalist, right? Like I'm building these rooms and I'm strengthening them, and I'm trying to get the edge details, and you know, and some of them I'm getting to be kind of proud of, but we still have like a back shed we need to work on, and you know.
I'm sure you know this too, as like someone who's just like kind of all of us, like you love sound, you love music, like that never-ending infinite quality of like learning and playing and listening and creating, like that's my favorite part of it. Like I think I figured that out with like I started burning CDs at my school, because like that was the perfect crossover. I was in high school. I could burn and sell CDs from people from like Napster. It wasn't even Napster. It was FTPs at the time. I was like, oh shit, this never ends. I was like, there's infinite fucking music. Like there's literally right now, there's people creating thousands, maybe millions of hours of music right now.
Yeah.
Infinite. I was like, that's fucking cool. I was like, yeah, you're going to get some shit in there. You're going to get some stuff you don't vibe with, but also you're going to find stuff for the rest of your life that's like you love. Like you found the thing. That to me is like, yeah. Is this a blunt?
Yeah, it's hitting like
Motherfucking
shit.
blunt.
We could light this one. That one's hitting like shit for some reason. We rolled 4 last night.
I love that there's been this. I like blunts.
Dude, who doesn't? Well, Mare doesn't. Mare,
I like them.
You
I
protect
just
your
don't do 'em. I
voice.
protect my voice. It's a hard lot. Yeah.
Is there a filter?
There's lots
in
of things
this
I would
blunt?
be doing if I
Let's
wasn't a
just light
vocalist.
another one. We could light another one.
Well, his joints hitting probably better than.
I
I mean,
just
it
like
hits.
singing more than I like blunts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like your voice more than I would like handing you the blunt. As
Great.
much as that would give me
Glad it's
pleasure to
creative
hand
fun.
you the blunt.
You can just move into a Janis Joplin phase.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Just go into there.
No.
Just lean into it.
It's like the opposite of Mare style. It's totally the opposite. I mean, we like listening
Yeah,
to
we love
Janis,
it,
but
love
I can't imagine you
No.
doing that.
No.
I'd be like,
Trying to
no,
avoid
no,
it.
no. I'd be like, don't do that.
Trying to be gentle.
just weed that.
Yeah.
I did
rolled
feel like a
4
kid. I
blunts.
did feel like a kid rolling these, like opening up a bunch of.
I like you guys use filters and blunts. That's
Of course, I mean-
adorable.
We use filters and everything.
Sean can't hand me something without a filter in it.
Yeah.
There's rules.
Well, I mean, you have to, if you're going to have a life of drugs, you have to have some decorum.
Yeah.
You have to have certain, like, you know, you have to have dignity about some things.
I guess
Like,
that's true.
I will never hand someone a fucked up joint or without a filter or like a
A blunt I
disgusting.
would.
I mean, you can and you can say with no disrespect.
Well,
But
yeah,
a
yeah,
blunt,
yeah.
blunt I would.
Yeah.
But not
Yeah.
a joint. If you're handing me a joint with, I feel like once you get tobacco in there, you can dirty it up a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit. It's
it
like
is.
earthy. It's like
Yeah,
ugh,
it's
whatever.
getting dirty.
Yeah, it's getting in the mud, but
Yeah.
not classy weed.
I brought some tobacco to blow up your nose.
Oh God.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
On the podcast, on the
Yes.
podcast.
Both these guys were both like, oh god.
You
I'm
remember
so
what
about
happened?
it.
I've done the rape.
God, the last time
I'm
I threw
about
up,
it.
I threw
Yeah.
up.
I'll do it to myself.
Yeah, she does it like
You
like
do it to yourselves. You guys.
she already like
I just like
gets up
bullet
in
it
the
like
morning.
cocaine. Like
Because it's supposed to be blown up, and I was like, how? That's
yeah, you just fucking.
No, there's
Yeah.
a thing.
I was a
don't
cocaine
know.
cowgirl for long enough to know how to get shit up there.
Oh,
yeah, people that know about
Just
like
get it up there.
Just get it up. Do what you gotta do.
It'll do its thing, you know.
Yeah.
But fuck, I mean, the last time I did, I threw up a bunch, and it wasn't even like good
Oh,
throw
you
up.
did. You went all the way.
He had a purge.
You resisted.
Oh, it was such a dark night.
Yeah,
Also involving
Halloween.
Denise. Yeah, jeez. Was that Halloween?
Well, I
No.
remember we served
it's
you
another
with
night.
Hape once, and you were like, it's Halloween, and I have to go. The only thing I have to do
Oh, yeah,
tonight
that
is
was
do
fine.
a reading at this bar, and you left our place. You were green, man. I was like, you were like barely fucking able to
So
get out
both
there.
times I've done it, it's been horrible. Okay,
It
that
just-
It's
explains
a little
my-
intense. It's a little intense.
Well,
just
now
remember
you
I-
smoke cigarettes, though.
I was like, I
Whoa.
couldn't get out of I couldn't get the taste of it out of me, and I
You just
was
gotta learn
like,
to love it, baby.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the
God.
creative challenge right
No,
there.
I
don't
You
want
call
to.
yourself a musician.
Come
You gotta
on.
love that
Give
shit.
me any other
that's
drug.
being a real musician.
It is.
Oh, come
You gotta
on.
step up as lead singer in that moment.
I like,
Yeah,
I like, I like you guys are encouraging. I guess it's not quite DMT though. It's not the
No.
same.
No.
Ugh, I hate it. Ugh.
Yeah.
It made me. It made
The
me.
taste of DMT.
No,
No.
DMT.
The,
That was,
the
Hape.
rape?
Oh.
no. It's just I don't. There's
I've had
something
two-
about maybe now
two
that I
experiences
smoke
with it.
tobacco,
You're good?
I would like
You
it.
grew up?
One was good because the person who was administering was gentle, and then the next night it was right before when you do ayahuasca, obviously right before, and the shaman did it the second night, and he blew hard. No, sorry, the first night she blew fast and it went up, and it was like easy, and then the second night the shaman was slow. And it fucked me up
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
like
That's how
whoa,
Cass does
whoa.
it. Yeah, it's,
But I do
yeah.
it to fuck him up.
Yeah.
yeah.
You gotta.
She gives me like a long, slow one. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the slow
"Whoa."
You don't-
one is.
You don't want it, but you need it sometimes.
It's a different kind of breath. I call that a
Yeah.
dragon's breath. The deer's breath is the.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a hurt so
That
good kind
that's
of
easy.
thing.
I'm like, oh, it's like doing a bump.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
But
Little
the
reset.
slow,
Kinda
slow
nice.
one, it was.
That I'm more into.
Yeah.
I remember it
Just a little
burns your
bit.
brain.
Yeah.
No, dude, you're taking too much. You're
Too much. I didn't administer it. Who do you
We-
think? I'm
we
like,
gave it to him.
they fucking blow my brains out with this stuff.
Anytime Noah's calling for something, I'm like, it's a
First of
deeper
all-
part of
No,
him.
Sean gets
calling.
like,
Like,
Not
it's
what
time
happened.
To fucking slay my homie.
Not what happened. You, the first time I did it, said I have to do it.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, you need to do this now. And I was
I
like,
did not.
100%.
Okay,
I'm
well,
Old
pretty
man
sure.
Cass came
You're
out.
the only person I would say that to.
I know
Wolfman
that, but you
Cass.
definitely did.
Okay.
And I was
I
like,
believe
all right,
you.
she's saying it. I'm going to do it.
People trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, she was, in fairness, Googling ketamine and DMT before. I mean, that's a trustworthy person. That's someone who's really
Oh,
like, I want to
God.
make sure this is okay.
Yeah,
Was
like
that
I got your
before?
back.
It was a good combination, apparently.
Okay.
relative.
Like the last words I read before you went in were like the best orgasmic experience of my life, and I was like,
Opposite.
all right, well, I guess we'll see.
Opposite. Literally, it was kind of like the ayahuasca thing. I gotta say, it was the opposite. What I was
Right.
consciously intending
Right.
to do, I
was the
got.
opposite.
It's like George Costanza. It. So next time,
Well,
Yeah.
I got to figure out what I
that's-
want, and then do the opposite, and then I'll get the good thing. Right? Is that
well, you
logic?
were telling a story, Sean, of somebody doing ayahuasca like 22 times and then kind of talking shit about
Yeah.
I've never purged and then
Yeah.
purging that night.
Yeah.
It's like, go ahead and say it.
He wasn't even talking shit. He was so confident in like he's like, oh, the dieta, all that stuff. He's like, I don't do any of it. I smoked weed right before I came in here, and I was like, rad, man, because I do too. But whatever, But I do kind of take this seriously. He's like, this is my 22nd time doing it. I've never purged. That night, this motherfucker took one cup, and I swear, it couldn't have even hit him yet. Before he freaked the fuck out, needed to be taken out of the room, and he's a registered nurse. And he was telling me the next day, he's like, Sean, I had no pulse. I was checking my pulse and I had no pulse. I was like, you hijacked yourself, but you cursed yourself by saying you never purged.
Yeah.
Then you get in there and fuck, man.
You gotta go into this stuff humble and ready to die every
Ready to
time,
die.
and
Wow.
ready to die,
Every day. Every day.
ready to let that
die.
shit go.
Yeah, it is true. That was a lot of what I went
Yeah.
through.
It almost feels like they command their own kind of respect, Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was going to naturally be harder for you, though, as a dad. And just, I mean, there is stuff that tethers you to this world. There is stuff that maybe you're working through. And maybe this was a way of processing. And maybe it was okay that you got humbled.
Oh, no, it's great I got home. Are you kidding me? It was fucking reckless. You don't get that experience unless you're
you
like
need it,
way
yeah.
out of like, and I think there wasn't anything consciously I was doing wrong where I needed that. I just think I was like, something from what I now know about DMT, and I smoked Changa before, and it was beautiful. It was incredible. It was like one of the most reaffirming and validating
Changa's
experiences of my life.
Nothing compared to the crystal.
However, I did Changa later that night. Same fucking
thing.
thing.
That's what I'm
and so
saying.
it's like,
Changa is
And
pretty
then
serious.
Kay, a week or two later, you went there.
the ghost round came back.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Dude. See,
That's when
what
I
happened.
got a little concerned.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
because this is
Yeah, yeah.
because you're not enough familiar with my loose grip on reality. You'll
Well,
get
I
more
was going
familiar.
to ask you, during this podcast about like what it's like psychically melding with Noah.
Yeah,
And
dude.
and
For me, it's been great because no. I needed it because I'm moody and
Yeah.
kind of more on the cynical side of life in the
Yes.
sense of, I understand. I understand the suffering and I've gone through rejection, all of that, and in a way, I embrace that. And he's more super positive, and it's been.
identified with the positive.
And the thing is that I'm open to it.
Right.
I'm not the moody asshole that's like, oh, fuck off, you're annoying, you're too happy. But he's not like that. He's not running around the house always super.
Rise and shine.
Yes.
Give God your glory, glory.
I would
Yeah.
kill that. I mean, that version of whoever that was is dead. You have to kill that version of you. No one
Yeah.
wants that. It's
Nobody
not-
wants that.
It's the worst. I am very optimistic though, and I mean,
We feel like Denise and I felt like a couple of times I don't want to say negativity, but we have
Density.
maybe have ruined his optimism or something that perhaps
innate spark in me.
Yes,
You
yes.
snuffed
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you really miss Noah being like the light
Yeah,
of your
yeah.
life. You're like, wow, we really just went too dark this time.
And
then you're like,
You
how much
outnumber
can
'em.
Fears like want you to recruit motherfuckers. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're like, get
Yes.
this guy in on it.
Yeah,
He needs
totally.
to start worrying about it too.
Yeah,
totally.
and I think
Get him in on it.
I think also though part of what I saw, like, because he saw me go through like a very dark period for me, just with my relationship, my life. Just felt like it was literally imploding. I don't even think exploding is the right word. It was just like it was imploding from the inside out. And then I did the DMT. But even in my darkest hours, like I was peeling myself off, like, and at least making music, and that
Yeah.
to me, and like I was like, fuck, I was like, that's good.
Thank
That's
God
good.
you
Like,
have that. Man.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
this is probably what is keeping me tethered to this reality in like no small part. So at least I can recognize that. So, I mean, I think that's why I say like everything, it is, you could look at it as like rose tinted glasses, but when you go through those dark kind of like forgetting that this is kind of something to be curious and playful about, and you kind of dwell in that place, that can be very valuable. It's not like a bad thing you're fucking up or doing wrong. I've found like the joy really is though in like overcoming. Like that's why we seem to be here. There's this innate level satisfaction of like overcoming something that was like weighing us down, whether that's like psychically, emotionally, a relationship, anything. It could be anything. There's something like very pure, it feels, about that, and that's probably why we put ourselves through it. I mean, why else?
Yeah, super curious people.
I think that's what was going on, without a doubt. It was still fresh in your mind. It was weighing you down a little bit.
Yeah.
And my experience with drugs is it doesn't matter what you're taking, but as soon as you kind of reach that realm, it starts to come back, whether it's a thought that you really thought you had control of. And that's why I told him, let it go. Let go of that moment that you had on DMT. Don't obsess over it, because now you're taking K and now you're going back into that negative energy. And it's because it's in your mind and you're obsessing over what the, and you're trying to figure out.
Like,
you're never going to be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is he was trying to figure out, why did I see that? Why was I experiencing that? And it's just not something that I think in this lifetime you can you can. That's the thing I said. It's
I don't know.
dangerous to get lost in the subconscious, because you're like,
why
did I experience that?
Here's the,
and you want to go back, and now you're going back and you're trying to like, it becomes a little bit, and then you're not enjoying the actual high.
That's
important. I feel like curiosity almost ends when you try and figure it out, and we have the opposite conception in humanity.
Yeah.
You know? Like, unless we box label it and whatever the fuck, it's like, oh, you weren't curious enough about it to fucking fracture it off and
get the answer.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? Yeah.
I also do think in duality, like, I definitely encountered some ghost realm shit. Like, I mean, it was so objectively, like, is at least as real as this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like... So I entertain that to a point. I think I've been lost in the subconscious before. I had a break from what most people call consensus reality, which is a certain vibration of where people want to meet themselves. You know, that was a very jarring experience that didn't shake my internal beliefs and convictions about what the fuck is going on here, but showed me that there's like a level of respect you want to honor and have for the things that are going on here, relationships, people, things.
Yeah, external, the influences that are outside of you. Because what had you been talking shit about most? Coming up to that event in time, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
God.
And spirit, you know, it's not just you. There are other spirits working with you, not against you, with you.
With you.
Sometimes against you. But, you know, it's all consenting if you give it power.
It's, I guess, like, how much into the realm of that do we play? This has always been my kind of, like, because I've opened myself up, like, very clearly and with intention to like all you ever do that, like all beings, you're like, I'm gonna let all beings into this like field of great.
It's why you have psychic abilities, not consciously because you're saying that, because there's actually like an openness about the way that your mindscape is in the subconscious to let other things in, right? You love having sex with like all things all the time.
Basically that's what it is. When you do that though, and you do all beings all the time, that's everything. That's fucking everything. So like I've developed this relationship with that type of energy where like I'm pretty much on like Star Trek. I got my force fields, not in like a cagey way. I'll let them down. People come hang out on the Enterprise. It's the best. Like the holodeck is there, but like for the most part, like I very much am where, because I've seen also other people, like I remember talking, you can see people who are lost in it. A lot of people on the street, a lot of people lost in drugs, a lot of people lost in just depression. You can see them kind of there, and you recognize like it requires your participation.
They're giving their authority away. 100%,
exactly.
100%.
Oh,
exactly.
I mean, we've been experiencing it lately, but we're surrounded by so many breakups right now. Yeah. And what comes with that is people trying to pull you in on their story of what's going on, so you feel like them or something. I don't know what it is, but it's so fucking weird that we're so surrounded with that energy, right? Remember the other night? Fucking, we're hanging out, and a friend of ours who just went through a breakup, and his girlfriend, his ex, comes over to drop off his stuff. Mind you, we didn't really even have that much of a relationship with this girl, but here she was, and like within 2 seconds she's in tears, and like you saw, my heart couldn't fucking handle it.
What was going on?
Sean's not used to it. To be honest, I feel like I'm more primed for that situation as a tattooer because I'm with people at their brink all the time. Like the amount of people I've seen, everybody cries in front of me.
Yeah.
And that's why they're coming to you. They're like, I'm forgetting about this relationship or whatever.
Yeah, but we're both really psychically sensitive in that way, and it's like you weren't used to that, and you just got totally sucked into it. I thought you were maybe gonna cry for a second.
I was a mess. Like I would just like gotten out of the shower.
What did she do?
It was just like one of like pretty stereotypical, and not to be dismissive about it, but like because it's all relatable. Everybody has been there. It's like first devastation,
breakup, virginity,
just ground shaking, breaking, ego splintering.
I'll never love again.
You know,
I don't
I'll never love again. I don't want to love again. Stuff,
the utter desperation
and just stunningly beautiful girl that you're like, so many people are gonna love you so much better. Like you have no idea right now, but like
stunningly beautiful.
Oh my god, the amount of love you're about to receive in your life.
You tell me off air, and I obviously want to know.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Fuck breakups. Yeah, they're intense. We're always breaking up, is the truth, right?
Yes.
I mean, and like it is
getting
always
back together
every day.
Oh my god,
man, we get it.
Always breaking up, always coming together. I think that is the definition.
Cass and Mare like breaking up every day.
Yeah, we do.
It's great.
It's part of our play.
We do breakup play.
It's a breakup play.
Are we ever gonna hang out again and play?
Well, the problem is when do
that. It fucking sucks. I hate it.
It sounds like Denise has a little breakup play in her fucking playbook too.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
At least you don't have a third person being like, wait, you're not supposed to break up without my consent.
Yeah, or on acid.
Oh man, the acid.
I kind of am that third person right now.
What?
I am that third person.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, you guys can't break up. Shit is pretty good for me right now.
I fucking love it.
We have a lot of people depending on us.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's where I feel like Denise must really love you by bringing you her like best friend and her lover together.
That's true.
Yeah,
oh my god, that's really true.
Right.
Especially as a female, because we're so.
No, she's even spoken about. The truth is that like her function seems to be crushing egos, and what comes with that for someone like where our fights come from, like that also requires to crush egos.
Yeah.
A pretty big ego. So like there's this fucking thing, but she also has this ability to be, I think maybe it's the avoidant thing, like you can pull out and detach and get perspective, where someone like I can't. I like fucking I'm spiraling in whatever direction you
toss
me.
You into.
Me too, man.
And I'm just like, what? I just thought we were in a huge fight. I'm not even sure we totally weren't, but we might have been. But she's like, no, we're good. And I'm like, oh, jeez. I even asked him. I was like, do you think that was like a big fight?
They were literally fighting about supply and demand.
It was true. It's a very nerdy.
There's the thing about Denise that I've learned in the 15 years that I've known her is that I used to get like that too, because it's infuriating. She is so smart, and the way she argues, you want to be like, no, I know I'm right here. I know I'm right. And I have to get you to acknowledge that and to admit that you're wrong, and she'll never do it, which is frustrating.
Yeah. Never.
Like for this story that Noah and I go back to geese. There was really high up in like September, flying like a flock, and we're like, oh, they're flying south for the winter, and I don't know how. But I was like, oh, they're geese. You could hear them. You could hear it. And she was like, what did she say they were?
Plane.
She said, no, she said they were a plane. She said they were like a different type of bird. I'm like, no, they're geese. You could actually hear it. She would not admit. And it was frustrating, but I've learned I'm okay with my ego now to be like, all right, cool. No, you're right. You're good.
That's
where
you have to get to with people like that, where you're like, I don't even actually necessarily want to shake your tightrope.
I'm there.
Those are nice. That's fine. I don't want to fucking know.
99% of the time I'm there, but there's something about this Bitcoin thing.
Yeah,
it
the Bitcoin thing is
us
triggering for
insane,
both of
for
you.
both of us. I don't understand why, and I'll be like, why is this even a fight? It's fucking crazy. Buy Bitcoin.
Yo, promote, Bill, Mare, Noah, promote your shit, you know.
Oh, he's got a new
wow.
podcast. That's
Yeah.
fucking.
Yeah,
Fucking
I
Buffalo
started-
Bill, where
look
you
at
at?
this.
What
Yes,
you doing?
I know.
Tell us what.
Yeah, it's called Unwell.
Mm.
And it is a podcast with myself and my friend Austin. And yeah, we just launched this month. We got the second episode went up today, actually.
Nice.
We interview a drug dealer.
Sick.
And basically the whole
sweet.
Austin is an incredible mind. He's 24 years old. He's a young gay boy from Jersey, and he's incredibly talented. He's written for BuzzFeed and Vice, and he's hilarious, and there's a really good chemistry that we have as a 43-year-old straight.
Especially here.
Yes, and then a 23-year-old gay man.
Yeah.
And
good.
It's
It's
good.
good combo.
We
Yeah.
have a good time, and
Love that.
we're basically the podcast is just our view on the scene and our whatever pop culture stuff, but also interviewing people like this drug dealer, and then next in an episode or two we have some sex workers that we're going to be interviewing, and just giving a
Sweet.
voice
Cool.
to people like that who maybe don't get a chance to do interviews so much, but I think are fascinating and stuff like that.
Rad.
Awesome.
Rad.
So
It's
yeah,
a good
check it out.
similar vibe,
Yeah.
similar vein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
good
really
stuff.
cool.
Yeah,
And Mare, of course, has her new podcast, God Sex.
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, you haven't checked it out yet, Noah?
Where?
Oh
Doing
my
me
God, you're gonna love
dirty.
it.
Doing me
Dude,
dirty. You
this
gotta
is-
check that shit out. But yeah, it's just mania. The only people I interview are the different parts of my personality. So we have an infinite amount of time to go
That's
through all
awesome.
that.
But
Yeah,
whoa.
as we discover them. Yeah.
Where are you posting this stuff?
Oh,
Where?
it's out on
I don't
every
see it.
platform.
You
What's
should
it called?
She doesn't like to promote it.
Yeah, it's hard. You gotta promote it. I was telling him today, it's like counterintuitive to like re-promote things after they've been released, but it's important because not everyone's gonna see your shit at the same time. But in
Yeah,
our
they're
minds,
timeless. I like make music on them.
I
so
saw
you guys
I saw
will-
you changed the name of them so they're more timeless too.
Yes.
That was smart.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
all right. What's the name of it?
God sex.
Oh,
God
that's
sex.
easy to
Nice.
How did no one have that fucking name?
How did no one have that fucking
It's
name
good for merch.
reserved for me?
That's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And
So-
maybe the name of my band too. I thought about that too.
Yeah.
God sex is a great
Yeah.
name.
There's endless
very-
possibilities with that. Yeah,
And they're
that's great.
digestible. Like, she's keeping them under 15
Oh, they're
minutes.
7
so-
minutes.
Yeah.
Ah.
That's the-
Fucking 7
Yeah.
minutes.
People appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And their weekly forecast
It's
for
like
what you
sticking
can
your finger in an
expect.
electrical socket.
Yeah.
I can't
Nice.
listen.
Sometimes I get a shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
she gets a shout out.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I earn a shout out.
Sometimes she
Yeah.
I can't wait to listen to this shit. This is great.
It's fucking awesome, man. You want to start your week with it for sure.
Nice.
It's a
Thank
good
you
one.
guys.
And then of course Noah has synchronicity, which is
Fucking all time.
it seems to be
Still killing.
why a lot of people find us to begin
My
with.
number
and-
one and only spiritual advisor, Noah
For
Lambert.
sure. Priest of the church.
Yes.
No, for real.
Yeah.
I fucking throw you on, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
man.
this is what's up.
I need my pastor, Noah.
Let's,
Absolutely.
because you can take,
Doing the
even though I
sermon.
don't like to necessarily inhabit the way you see the world sometimes.
Who does?
She gets fussy about it.
I get
She does.
fussy.
She
I have
gets
my own
fussy.
way of doing
Yeah.
it, but I do like, because it is like a raising in consciousness. It's a bringing it down to the universal truths and the basic things I understand to be true. And so with that, you're reminded of your divine nature and your connected nature. And I think it's a great service, and I really appreciate
It's-
you.
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing you guys do too. That's why and same thing, like all you can do is share your perspective on the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be consistent. Like that's the beauty
It's
of
not.
it. It
That's
does,
the best
like,
thing
yeah.
about the podcast.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's the vibe though is consistent. You guys said
Yeah.
when you got on YouTube, like you felt that. Like there's
Oh, yeah.
people were like the vibe. They're like,
Yeah.
'cause that's a thing.
'Cause that's all
a
it
real
is.
that's a real thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the vibe
Yeah.
is high and tight in these days.
high and tight.
And yeah, we're psyched to have Mare as part of this.
Yeah.
pulling
Good
into the-
additions.
Fuck
Roping
yeah.
into forcing people to do podcasts. and
Yeah.
I
fucking-
love it.
Nice.
I love
love
it.
it.
We're gonna have a fun time today.
Yeah,
Thanks for
man.
listening. Patreon.com/Church
a-
of Chill.
Yeah. Pre-party.
This is the pre-party. Don't you feel better that we got this?
I do feel better.
Okay,
I
cool.
gotta
Thank
do
you guys.
pee party.
Yeah, let's go do a
Yeah.
pre-party. Cool.
We may get there.
love.
Peace
We
and
may get that
love.
wild.
Peace and love.